Content curation.
Well, hold on. We got a couple of things before we get into content
Oh,
curation.
I'm sorry. I was so excited. I jumped in.
We got a great question from Facebook. So head out to Linking into Sales on Facebook. We got a great question from one of our fans out there about content curation. But before we get to that, because we're going to actually cover a few things about that today, we want to say welcome aboard, Carlos Gill. Now, Carlos Gill, for those of you who don't know who he is, and unless you shop in St. Louis somewhere, you probably don't know who he is. He's actually the new Senior Global Social Media Marketing Manager for LinkedIn. He replaces Coca Sexton, who has since moved on to other positions at LinkedIn, focused on doing content marketing things with LinkedIn, some small business stuff and things like that. So we'll look forward to getting to know Carlos. And I think we have a quick tip for him too, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we were checking out his LinkedIn profile, which we will have linked inside the show notes. But what was it missing? Well,
let's see. Oh, here. His
hi.
face.
My name's Carlos Gill.
His face.
No idea
you can add a picture to your LinkedIn profile,
yeah.
Carlos.
Yeah, but which we thankfully he used a custom header, which is really nice. But
snaps for that.
But we go to click on his post about how he's gone from laid off to LinkedIn in the last couple of months, and we go there. He's missing a whole picture. His profile picture's gone.
We got to razz you, Carlos. We just have to.
We just have to. But welcome to LinkedIn, and we'll look forward to getting to know you as well. Because I'd
love to have you on the show.
I'll be sending you an invite too.
Yeah.
So
today's topic. Where did this come from?
Well, we were talking about this.
To curate.
Oh, yeah.
Have been cured.
So I was doing some word research on the word curate, and I Googled it. I was like, okay, Google, and it actually took me up to show me the origination of the word curate, and it really means to cure. It's Latin for curing. Mm-hmm. So when you curate in content and things like that, this fun little medicine methodology or doctor health sort of methodology here that you can apply to this, where you say that if I'm going to deliver you content or curate content for you, I'm going to be I'm trying to solve a problem that you may have, or at least attempting to, or you're trying to acquire knowledge and you're curing the lack of knowledge you have in your head. So I think that so basically to curate is to cure, and look for a future blog post on that. So what do you think? I think
it's a good entry into curation, because content curation is not, I found something, throw it out there.
Right.
To me, it's actually you're taking a time. One way for me is you're taking a time to solve a problem or bring their attention to something in the content. So you're saving the time of just finding it on their own. And you might, to me, I like when someone goes, read tip number 5.
Yep.
This is important. And this is why I think it's important. It doesn't mean you have to write a lot, but I go, oh, he's trying to bring something to my attention that really saves me time.
Yeah, it's kind of like, back in the day, way back in the day when my grandparents are still around, my grandmother used to cut out an article from the newspaper and put it in an envelope and mail it to me, right? Well, it's kind of like what we're doing on Twitter today. But she wouldn't have sent me the whole newspaper and just say, hey, there's an article in there I think you might find interesting.
Great point.
Right? So you actually find the piece that you want them to look at and read, and you send it off to them. Now, but there's this whole strategy around creating, around using content and content curation. So we're discussing this and how we kind of really explain this, but you came up with a really great way. I think you need to share it.
Well, we're talking about setting up the context, and it reminds me of the time I was booed off stage learning stand-up comedy. Now, not many people can say they took a comedy class, they went in, and they were in front of a room full of drunk people, and they actually got booed off stage. I want to tell you, it's a badge of honor. I didn't really listen to my stand-up trainer, Raj Bates. I'm going to give him a call out to it. I thought, I'm funny in front of the classroom. I know what to do. Well, it's a whole different thing when you're standing in front of blinding lights. You can't see them, and they've all had a few. So what I learned is I jumped in with something around kind of like my story about what is redneck feng shui. Not to offend anyone, but that was this. And I jumped in. They didn't know what feng shui was. They didn't know the context, and maybe they were offended. So then, after I was booed off stage and drove home and experienced full humiliation, I stayed in the class for 6 weeks, listened to my instructor, and realized in comedy, you have to set it up. You have to give a setup. So Then I started, the next version of that joke was, I was driving driving across the state, and I saw I saw a trailer park, and I asked, who does feng shui for them? Who makes the effort to do that? I mean, my question is, if you line up the cars from east to west, will you keep away tornadoes and criminals? Now I had something to stand on that started to get jokes,
Right.
if you put the picture of John Wayne, Elvis, and Jesus in the relationship corner, will your next date have all their teeth? So, this was something that got a laugh going and a roll and so forth. And again, not to offend anyone.
Well, I probably should have warned you that Google Analytics demographics are showing us that we have a high listenership of rednecks. So
great. Well, I'm proud of them. I'd rather trust them than most people.
That's right.
So
the good old boys won't be upset about that.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Setting the context. And that's, to me, part of what you're doing in this work. We're setting the context. Yeah. We're building the story. You don't jump into the story in the middle. Except I have found on the road, you're building trust with somebody if they start the story in the middle. He came through, I hit him with the stun gun. Well, that's another story.
So in how this kind of relates, putting things in context is, I think we've talked before a little bit on the show about, the social selling hourglass, and we'll actually we're going to have more about this coming out soon. But basically, the social selling hourglass says that we start, basically take two funnels and connect them together at the small end, right? Yep. We want to start with a big idea.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we want to narrow that down and help those folks that have entered the funnel figure out if they actually belong there. Otherwise, you may be wasting your time as a salesperson. You need to take and get those people who are disqualified out as fast as possible. So using the right content throughout the sales process and throughout the journey is going to be critical. And it's not just important for marketing drips and things like that. We're actually talking about how literally B2B sales professionals are using content when they're sending out, either it's a slide deck or it's an article from an industry rag or anything like that. You have to use it at the right time and also measure the effectiveness of that content. And there's a number of different tools you can use for that. Whether it's, something like
URL shortener,
URL shortener,
like Google,
Google was it GO?
Well, anyway,
GL or something like that. Yep. And then there's also Sidekick from Sidekick from HubSpot. It used to be called Get Signals. And then Yesware, which is the email plugin for Gmail. Those kind of tools that actually give you the metrics back to let you know if the content you're sharing at that point in time is important. Now, as a sales professional, marketing takes a look at analytics and things like that, but you have to understand those analytics too. You have to know what is effective. Just like the response you got back from your skit, right?
Right. The first one
they threw you out.
Well, and the thing is they didn't know the context. I didn't set the context up.
Right.
I didn't understand it.
But I told you had to go back and you had to make a correction.
Yeah.
And then come back and deliver the right order, right? Because if you delivered it out of order, it was all messed up.
I learned from my lesson.
That's right. So same thing goes with content. You deliver big content, big idea content, and then bring it on down to the very specific stuff. So it could be down to the point where they're looking at data sheets and they're looking, really close at your proposals and the information you have inside of there before they decide to make a purchase. So I think I also wanted to kind of give you a couple ideas on where you can actually find content.
Absolutely.
To share. All right. So why don't you start with the first one?
Well, there are a number of places you can, first of all, your company blog in your marketing department. That's one, because that's content that gave you permission to use. And it depends on if you have a heavy compliance or not, what you can use. But at least you should be able to point out where they should bring their attention. So that's one of them.
Yep, definitely using that. And if there isn't something available on the company blog, get them to write something on the company blog or write it yourself. Reaching out to thought leaders as well. There's a number of great resources out there in sales and marketing. There's a whole bunch of folks, really amazing folks, that have some very great thoughts about how to approach sales and marketing. So whatever your industry is and whatever you're selling into, you're going to find thought leaders in that space. And if there isn't, there's an opportunity for you to become one.
Industry journals can be it. Online journals, especially if they have a hyperlink, you can grab it. That gives permission, so you aren't trying to steal their content. You're directing them to them. Online magazines or versions that have online. And then, of course, just Google itself to use it.
Yep, using Google. But don't forget to turn out to your LinkedIn groups as well. You can certainly find some industry specific groups that might be helpful to find content and find at least people having discussions and things like that. Twitter as well, Google Plus. The social networks are wonderful for finding that kind of content.
An RSS reader, bringing in a bunch of blogs so you can pick content to use it.
Yep.
There's some of the bookmarking discussion sites. I'm just drawing a blank on them. They've been around for a while. That's one too.
Yep. If you find something that you think might be useful for saving for later, and then I suggest Get Pocket. And Pocket actually allows you to take and save stuff using your Chrome browser directly into the application for you to review later. And they have a mobile app as well.
It's interesting. There's still a lot of content going on Reddit, RIDDIT.
Oh, Reddit. Yep.
Reddit.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So, that'd be another one there. So start looking for your sources of content. You could use a blog RSS reader to bring it in, and then just, of course, finding out, showcasing some of your customers can be valuable too.
Absolutely. Now, if you have any suggestions about where you get content or where you think that other folks would like to find content, or if you just have general questions about this particular episode, use hashtag with the minions.
With the minions that just attacked me. They found us, yeah.
So use hashtag linking sales 63. Which
linking
is
sales,
linking
63.
sales, LINKING.
Pound sign first.
Hashtag linking sales 63. Hashtag this is awesome.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And then also we also have a special little announcement. We want you to check us out.
Yeah. Well, I want to tell you about, before we did this, my mother was real supportive of my dyslexia. Did you know that?
No.
She created an organization, Mothers Against Dyslexia. You know what? You heard of it?
No.
The acronym was DAM. Go ahead. Sorry. I'm remembering my jokes now. So keep going.
I've stirred the pot. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
That's all right. So we had, so we've actually launched a new site. Go out to sellingb2b.com and actually join a community of thought leaders and sales professionals who are actually sharing some of the most awesome sales content, content that can actually help you do your work better. This is coming from all across the web. People are coming in and discussing that content, asking questions, and having fun. We just launched it just last week. So I welcome you to come out and register, join. Let me know what you think. We're still developing it. Like I said, it was launched last week. It's kind of
a beta, soft launch only for our listeners.
Yeah, I haven't put it on our LinkedIn profiles or anything like that yet. But if you're listening to the show, please, go out, go check it out. Go to sellingb2b.com. You can follow it on Twitter at sellingb2b. You can find it on Facebook at Selling B2B, and you can find it on Google Plus Selling B2B, and YouTube. Look, I secured all those names.
Good work.
I'm a good social media guy.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Do we have any other closing jokes?
No. That
No,
wasn't a
be
joke.
careful. Oh,
that
I'm
was
sorry.
a joke. That was dead serious. We made an awesome community for you. We want you to come out.
So how are you using content? Think about the process. Think of big ideas, bringing it down, and then noticing how it's being engaged and worked with to get feedback on what's the best content. Remember, you're talking to the personas of your customers. You're not just throwing it out there, or the personas of your prospects.
That's right.
This is, to me, a real important thing. Make it personal.
Yeah.
Just like in the old school I grew up in, you see an article and you go, this would be useful for Bob's office.
Yeah.
And we're going to send it out for Bob's office.
Yeah. So
dial that in.
Here's your closing thought for you. You can't go fishing with a strawberry.
Oh my gosh, you can't.
You can't go fishing with a strawberry. What kind of fish are you going to catch with a strawberry?
I don't think any.
No.
So you got to figure out what you need.
So North Carolina, you got to use your right bait.
One of the stories of fly fishing is the fly fisherman goes out into the water and finds out what bites him. And then he looks at it. It's serious. And he looks at it and he goes, that's the lure I need to fish. So pay attention to it. So
Very
we got
good.
if you got some more sayings, bring them up. Great. This completes this show on just talking about content curation. And look for your hashtag, look for the conversation on Twitter. Remember, # linking sales 63 for this show. We're going to launch this and play with it, see how it works. And if you have other ideas or resources that would help people with content curation, wrote an article, share it on there as well for everyone to see. This is Martin Brossman.
And Greg Hyer, and you've been watching or listening to Linking into Sales using social media to support the sales cycle.